Hello y'all, this is the Road to 56, a Hearts of Iron 4 mod that adds new focus trees, expands the timeline to 1956, and it also changes the technology tree just a little bit. In this video, we are going to be trying to break away from the Netherlands as the Dutch East Indies. We have started. Let's go to our national overview. In it we can see that we have 4 national spirits, and they are disjointed army, colonial economy, education reforms, and national awakening. None of these are good. I mean, in terms of just debuffs and stats and whatnot, these are not good for us. And we are an integrated puppet of the Netherlands, which means if we don't do anything about our situation soon, we will most likely be annexed by the Dutch, which is something we're aiming to avoid. And going to our military now, we have 7 divisions in the army. Do we have a navy? No. Air force? Any air force? No air force. But we do have a unique unit model, which is interesting. Here it is. There we go. And we have 2 division types. We have infantry divisions, and then we have colonial garrisons. And the colonial garrisons are weaker than the infantry divisions, so let's keep that in mind. Let's create an army now. New army. Get these guys commander. We have a field marshal. Put him to work, please. Get to work. And for now, let's just have all of our units do garrison duty or something. I don't know. Just defend our ports. If we have to, we may have to split up our army later. And one thing about the Dutch East Indies is that we have a lot of manpower, I would say, because honestly, this area, Insulindia, I think that was the name for it, it has a lot of population in it, just in terms of its state population. Over in Sumatra, for example, that's quite a good amount. Research sought available. Let's start doing basic machine tools, as well as construction 1, and electronic mechanical computing. Engineering, I mean, good job, us, good job. And now, we have no military factories. Not a single military factory, that's horrible. But we do have tons of rubber, so we will get a lot of trade, I imagine. Convoys, let's make convoys. National focus, not set. Let's start the focus tree by doing Kabang Kaitan. Awaken, fellow Indonesians, and rediscover the legacy of your native land. Long live my land, long live my country, my people, my homeland. All of it. Let her soul be raised, may her body be awakened. And once this focus is done, the national awakening national spirit will be replaced with Kabang Kaitan, and daily autonomy progress gain will go up. And let's start making some new divisions, or no. I mean, we have no equipment, there's no point. Decisions available, don't worry about that. Don't worry about resources either. I do need some factories down the line. I am going to admit I need that. And the Dutch Navy is out here, it seems. They're in port right now in South Sulawesi. Interesting. Free civilian factories. We need military factories of some kind. That would be preferable. Just one military factory. That would be great. Events or decisions timeout. Don't worry about that. And what is this about? The Kabang. Some event says here Kabang Kaitan. The Dutch East Indies lies at a crossroads. Though sheltered from the Great War, the colonial administration has not escaped the growing movements for native independence. Fueled by the rising power of Japan and the increasing modernization of the colony, native figures have arisen, championing independence under many banners. From the east, the fascists, pro-Japanese, champion the right of nationhood. The workers demand greater control over the fruits of their labor. Even the most sympathetic politicians are urging a democratic government. Only time will tell. Rather, the overburdened and under-supported colonial government will be able to quell these demands or fall under the wave of independence. We will see. And our plan is to have that happen. Like, the Dutch East Indies, the colonial administration has to go. We're going to create an Indonesian state, even though that would take some time. No divisions in basic training. I know we'll have 1 division just so I don't got to see that notification. These guys won't be deployed forever, probably because we have no factories. Ridiculous. But at least we have some units in training. 1 division is better than no divisions there. And I wonder what's going to go on in China in this playthrough, any wacky shenanigans that will happen there. Also with Japan. as well as the Philippines and Australia. Very curious to see what happens in those places. Very curious indeed. And this focus is a 70-day one. It'll be done in about less than 30 days now. Good. And once it's done, we'll end up doing more, go down the P&I path here, which is like the fascist path for the Dutch East Indies, or independent fascist path for the Dutch East Indies. And that'll be started as soon as this focus is done. We got to work on military. We got to work on getting independent from the Dutch. Can we send them a military attaché? I don't think so. No, they must be at war for that to happen. We can't really do anything. We're just going to have to deal with it right now and just hope the daily autonomy gain is good enough. Just get more units, please. Get more troops, autonomy. And come on, get this focus done. Great. Let's go with the P&I focus. The only way forward, and indeed the only way of survival, is through the strong nationalist state that the National Party of Indonesia promises. Compromise only weakens our chances for freedom. Riots in the streets. Democracy is not popular. Well, more popular than it was. But once this focus is done, we'll get a national spirit called fascist support, which will improve, it will cause the ideological popularity of fascism to go up in the country for several years, essentially. That's 1,800 days. That's like the entire play, that's almost the entire amount of time you play Hearts of Iron for. That's 5 years? No, that's not right. 6 years? It's a long time, let's just say that. A long time, relatively speaking, when it comes to Hearts of Iron 4. And do the Dutch have an air force here at all? I think they do. Is this like an air base? It looks like it is. Yeah, they have like 12 planes in South Sulawesi. I don't know why, but the Dutch do have the Dutch Air Force has some kind of presence in the country there. It appears so anyway, which, okay. And I wonder what Siam's going to do. They do have their own focus tree in this mod, but we'll have to see what they do, as well as British Malay. Does British Malay have their own unique focus tree? I believe it does. Yes, they do. Very curious. Let's see what happens there. Second London Naval Treaty is signed. Okay, and how is autonomy doing? We are going up a little bit per day. It will take a while to get to 1,000 to get to a puppet state instead of an integrated puppet, which, once we're a puppet, it's still not that great for us, but it does mean we can't really be annexed by the Dutch immediately. And in our focus tree, let's research tree, start researching concentrated industry 1, because dispersed industry doesn't seem that great of an option right now. I don't expect us to get attacked or anything. P&I is done. Now let's complete the next focus. What can we choose to do here? Stability versus war support. Let's go with war support. It says here, one country, one people, one language. If we are to unite our people, we must not be divided on trivial matters of language or race. In this great struggle, we are all Indonesians, and this will modify that Kabang Katan national spirit by giving us 10% war support and more daily autonomy progress gain, and it will add 250 autonomy once it is done. After that, we'll send an envoy to Japan, I guess, because we are going down the fascist route, I suppose. Although, things do get a little strange down near the guided democracy part of this focus tree. It's not entirely fascist, I think. I can't really say, though. I haven't really played with this country much. And now, let's start researching excavation 1. Get that done. That will take like 170 days. One country, one people will be done shortly. How is autonomy going? 522. As soon as possible, 522 out of 1,000. We need to get ourselves a fascist demagogue very soon. Once we have the political power for it, that would be Matthias Bullers there. He's the fascist demagogue of the country, and I will let fascism become more popular in Indonesia, the Dutch East Indies anyway. And do we have to worry about opening up the political sphere or anything like that? I guess not. Like, what's this about here? I don't know. I don't think we do. No. I don't believe so. One country, one people, one language will be done shortly, though. Come on, less than 10 days now. Go faster, please. Go faster. Go faster. Move along. Get there, get there, get there, get there. Get there. Thank you. One people, one country, one language is done. Well, one country, one people, one language. And now let's do envoy to the Empire of Japan. It says here, the only nationalist country in our area also happens to be the most significant regional power. It is logical to establish further relations to legitimize our movement at home, and the popularity of fascism will increase once this event is over. And it appears there's a war in China between the Chinese Soviet Republic led by Mao Zedong and the Ma clique led by Ma Bufang, who is one of the warlords of China. So, who knows who will prevail there? We'll have to see, I guess. I wonder if the Japanese are going to attack China at some point. They usually do. They typically do in a lot of Hearts of Iron 4 playthroughs in mods like Road to 56 and in vanilla. Get this focus done though. We're at 30 days, 31 days. How is the... Okay, we're getting closer to not being a puppet anymore of the... Actually, once this... I don't know. If we can just get more focuses done that can just let us be free, we'll have to use political power to to become a puppet, to escape from being an integrated puppet. It will take some time to do all that though. Just gotta wait here. What do I do for this though? I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to wait to do any more political focuses after this one. We gotta raise our autonomy above being a puppet. And fortunately, in this focus tree, we do have some special focuses that can raise our autonomy for the country and also get rid of some annoying debuffs. And I think, what am I going to do next? I suppose we'll do economic independence. But we got to go through all this first. Or what's the fastest thing we can do? This is, let me see here. That is, let me check. That's one. We got to do all this. Oh my goodness gracious. That is annoying. The new governor, it says here, the retirement of Cornelius de Jong as Governor General of the East Indies marks the end of an era. A strong, stubborn man, Jong was firmly opposed to local autonomy and was also firmly pro-Dutch in his administration, rejecting most efforts to increase colonial autonomy. His replacement, Stuyvesant, has yet to decide which way he will point the administration, but many are hoping for a breath of fresh air to kickstart independence movements. May he govern well. And now we have a new leader of the Dutch East Indies, a new governor, and there's a civil war in Latvia, and the Bulgarian government condemns the IMRO. What can we do? What should we do? Let's worry about the economy, I guess. Get industrial centralization done. It says, well, let me get political... Actually, no. Modify Officer Corps, don't worry about that. Insufficient resources, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that either. Industrial centralization. While our resources are significant, we have no real civilian economy, and much of our wealth is exported with no return for our people. Focusing on a stable civilian economy will be our first step in economic growth. And once this focus is done, we'll get ourselves 3 civilian factories, which are much needed. And there's a civil war in Spain that's going on. The Republic of Latvia was annexed by the Latvian independent SSR, who was a puppet of the Soviet Union, I believe? Yes, they are a puppet of the Soviet Union. Okay, and is this... Okay, wait. Oh, I thought... Okay, I'm going crazy, that's all. I thought the Tuvan People's Republic was the Chinese Soviet Republic for some reason due to their flags. And let's research radio. Get that done. Also start researching what? Get construction 2 started, just so I have a head start on that. Even though it is a 1937 tiered tech, it would be good to get it done in 1936 before that date, before 1937 even comes around. And industrial centralization is going to be done soon. Well, relatively speaking, we got to do like what? We got to complete 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, no, we got to do a lot of focuses just to get to economic independence, which will grant us some autonomy points that we need desperately. And can we become more than a puppet right now? We cannot. I hope the Netherlands gets into a war. I really do. I want to send them military attaches just to get our autonomy level higher. I'm glad we have special focuses to raise our autonomy, otherwise this would be impossible. It really would. And we are at 134 political power. I need more political power to get that fascist demagogue guy. Come on, excavation 1 is done. Okay, now let's start researching concentrated industry 2. Just get all the 1937 tier industry tech. And now in the focus tree, let's start do this here. Restore to arms factories. It says in the focus tree, major weapon manufacturing has not occurred on our soil for years. Our armament factories need to be rebuilt to provide modern weaponry for our soldiers. And once this focus is done, we will get ourselves 2 military factories. And that will be a major improvement from, say, 0 military factories. And that also means we will have the ability to actually train and deploy this division. Well, it's not so much the issue of training, it's more so we can't really equip them with anything. They can't fight with air. We are at 140 political power. It's just going up so slowly. Crazy. We are going to have to conserve some political power down the line to become a puppet, but that's not going to be for a little bit more time. Just get restored arms factories done. Come on now. Political advisor. I need a political advisor, please. I need to get one. I need the fascist guy. Republic of Turkey demilitarizes the Turkish Straits, or something like that, if I read that correctly. And I wonder if there will be a civil war in, say, in Germany. They really are not. Why are they taking so long to remilitarize the Rhineland? Weird. I mean, in vanilla, they usually rush to get it done, but I guess in Road to 56, they are not as keen to do so. And how many divisions do the Dutch have even? They have, let me check. They have only 10. Great, so our military could probably beat theirs if it was slightly larger, so let's keep that in mind. Just note that down. Modified government, come on, I need 150 political power. 150 political power, come on. There we go. Now, let's get the fascist demagogue to get fascism to become more popular in the country. It will take quite a bit of time to get that done, though. We've got to get over 40% popularity. Restore to arms factories are done. Let's now continue the modernization. Fascist assault divisions form. Okay, whatever. That's fine by us, because we're trying to get the fascists in power. But anyway, continue the modernization. The Dutch ethical policy has been a boon to our economy, providing much needed relief and welfare for our subjects. But it has not gone far enough. Increasing funding is now needed to continue our modernization efforts for the East Indies, and this focus will grant us 2 civilian factories. Okay. And we're so close to no longer being an integrated puppet. I just need a little bit more time. Come on. It's like 1 autonomy point per day, nearly, I think. Possibly. Yeah. So we got a little bit more longer to wait. I'd say until mid to late 1937 we'll just be a puppet instead of an integrated puppet. In our research tree, let's start researching, do improved machine tools, get that done, get all this industry technology completed, and that will help us out. The Tuva Independent Republic leads to Comintern. Why? Very curious why they did that. Wait, they changed ideology. That may explain why. They're now the Tuva Independent. They're now democratic. They were communist. I mean, this means there's no longer confusing their flags with the Chinese Soviet Republic, I guess. That's a little, well, I mean, the USSR lost 10 of Tuva, but it got Latvia, it seems. And the Xinjiang Clique is going to fight Turkmenistan. They usually fight this war in every playthrough I've seen in Road to 56. It's just a war that happens in western China, and that just occurs often. Come on, get this focus done. A few more days, get it done. The Dutch ethical policy, all that fun stuff. I need more civilian factories. We have how many civilian factories right now? One civilian factory building stuff. Construction 2 is complete. I wonder if anyone's trading with us. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dutch are just taking our resources. Are they? No. Wow, the British Malaya has tons of rubber. They have more rubber than we do. There's so much rubber in Asia. Southeast Asia has tons of that. Wow. It's crazy. That is just amazing. And in our focus tree, let's research civilian works. which says, it says here, massive deforestation and new factories will jumpstart our economy, providing new industrial hearts in our country. This focus, upon completion, will give us like 4 building slots and 2 civilian factories on the island of Sumatra, which that's terrific because we need more civilian factories. We need more industry to build our arms factory there. And what happened to our military factories? Did the German... Oh, they went to our overlord. The Dutch kidnapped our military factories. Great. Well, they're borrowing them. We'll get them back eventually, don't worry. Sniper team, research that. Polish Republic, there's a peasant uprising in Krakow. There's a civil war in Poland. And it's between supporters of democracy and supporters of... I think they're both democratic, actually. This is a democratic civil war. I mean, one has a sub-ideology of, let's say, conservatism, and the other one has a sub-ideology of what is this? Democratic socialism. So it's a democratic socialist versus conservatives war. And that's what's going on in Poland. And I also think the anarchists rose up in Spain. Is that right? Yes, it is. Will a Carlist pop up? Probably. That usually happens. And I still can't get what the German Reich is doing. They aren't militarizing the Rhineland at all. It's so strange. Just different from what I usually see the German AI do. And the Polish Peasant Republic, Polish Peasant Union, is making a lot of progress against their enemies, it appears. And how's this focus doing here? Civilian works. I bet the Dutch will kidnap our factories again, which is unfortunate if it does. I'm hoping if we become a puppet, they don't take as much resources. I'm pretty sure they won't. Just looking at the differences here. Like extra trade overlord plus 100%. Puppet is 90%, I think. So, I'm confused. They're just taking our factories. Give us back our stuff. I think Himmler assumes leadership, so Hitler is dead. Empire of Japan declared war on China, and Hitler died in an explosion. He was assassinated, apparently. Earthworks, Marco Polo Bridge incident. Let's now research Earth. Well, due to focus, Earthworks, with the ability to reshape our terrain, we can genuinely begin to own the Earth of our great homeland and use it to the best of its potential. This will grant us 1 military factory and 4 building slots. Well, China wants to resupply their ships in our port. Why not do it? Come on now. Research slot available. Let us get flamethrower research. And I can't believe Hitler died. That will explain why they weren't doing anything. So Himmler is in charge now. Does he have a special path for him? Maybe he does. I don't know. I really do not know. I'm looking around here. So, death of Hitler. Maybe there'll be a civil war? I'm not sure. And some peace treaty was signed. The Turkestan United Clique has been formed. The Chinese United Front has formed. And who's leading that? Oh, they're all united against Japan. Interesting. So all the warlords of China are on board with that? Except maybe... Okay, no, they're a part of that too. So that's every single Chinese warlord except, say, the Xinjiang clique is fighting Japan. Wow. That is crazy. I mean, it's not surprising, but that's going on. Japan is having some issues. They're trying to fight for Beijing right now, it looks like. And Earthworks, there goes Beijing. It fell to the Japanese. Earthworks will be done soon, I hope. And will also be able to... will no longer be a puppet of the Dutch very soon. An integrated puppet. We'll still be a puppet technically, but we won't be as... how to say this? We'll have more autonomy, which is a benefit for us. We're at 980 points. Good. Come on, get this done. We got to get up to the Dominion level, I think, before we can rebel against them, or try to anyway. Make a demand against the Dutch or something like that. And I think once we're no longer an integrated puppet, they can't take our factories anymore, which would be helpful because we sort of need that stuff to produce weapons and build more factories. Because if the Overlord has everything, the subjects can't really thrive. And I mean, yeah, that may be intentional. And there's a civil war. Figures. 3-way civil war in Germany. And now in the focus tree, let's research colonial infrastructure, existing colonial infrastructure. I mean, existing. Brazil is invading Uruguay. Existing colonial efforts to connect colonies are the perfect starting point to creating a connected Dutch East Indies. And what this focus is going to do is give us tons of infrastructure and a special design company which specializes in building up infrastructure and railways. And how is Japan doing in their war with the Chinese? I mean, they took Beijing, but it still seems to be a slow march for them. And how's the German Civil War going between the three sides? It is the People's State of Germany. Interesting portrait there for Ernst Thälmann. And Erwin von Witzelbin, as well as Himmler. Very, very odd civil war going on in Germany since Hitler is dead. In our research tree, let's start researching support 30, get that done. Can we no longer be subjects, please? I mean puppets. I mean integrated puppets. I need more political power. I need like 50 political power here. So we gotta wait. Terrific. Just come on, give me the political power I need. Come on, colonial infrastructure is going to take some more time to get done though. Ma Clique joins the Chinese United Front. And let's research in our focus tree. Let's research. What can we do? Research. Go to artillery. Get artillery, basic artillery done. Research that. I need so much. Why is it so hard to get political power? I'm just going to. Should I not? This is so terrible. Plus 0.17 political power per day. I'm losing time just doing this. Okay, so there we go. We're no longer a, well, let's get it. Colonial infrastructure research now. We're no longer a integrated puppet anymore for the Dutch. Now we have to become a colony, not a dominion. Dominion's after a colony, I think. Dominion is what the status of like the British Raj is, or no, it's the like Canada. Canada would be more accurate description of what a dominion is in Hearts of Iron 4, yeah. And the People's State of Germany got annexed by the German Reich, and it seems that there's a possibility that Himmler could win the war and just continue on with Nazi control of the country. But who knows, the German Republic is trying to fight on. They're doing stuff. They're trying to fight. It's only going, I don't know, they're attempting to do something. They're holding on in Essen and Frankfurt, but the Germans are just right outside. I mean, the German Reich is right outside their capital, just looking at what we can see from the Dutch border. Yeah, it's not looking so great for the German Republic. I'm going to be honest. Let me see their unit count. German Republic has 12 to 55. German Reich has 18 to 74, according to our estimates. And the Regional Defense Council of Aragon was annexed. The Regional Defense Council of Aragon was basically the Spanish anarchist faction in the Civil War there. And how are the Japanese doing? They're making more progress into China. They're pushing along the coastline of Shandong-Hebei in Beijing. It looks that way anyway. There's a naval battle going on in the East China Sea. I imagine the Japanese won because they have a massive navy. I would think so anyway. We need so much political power for this. Crazy. Can we please do more political stuff? No, we have to be more than just a puppet. We have to be a colony, not a puppet. So I'm thinking at the rate at which everything's going to have to be taken to get done, it will be 1938 or 1939. Well, minimum of, I'd say 1939 or maybe 1940 before we can become free from the Dutch. Just, that's an estimate. Do we have our factories back though? No, we don't. I mean, we got some of them back. They took one of them. They took two of them. Why? Do we start off with one that the Dutch just had? Maybe we did. I don't know. Colonial infrastructure is done. And now let's do connect the islands. It says here, we cannot rely on infrastructure on the mainland alone. Proper industrial projects will need to be conducted on all of our islands to prepare for increasing industrialization. This focus will grant us a lot of infrastructure in several different states. And I never realized this, but I guess the reason why some puppets in Hearts of Iron 4, some subject states never really expand their military, is because all of their factories just get taken by the overlord state, which means they can't really do anything. Unless they're massive, like if you puppeted a major power or something. I sort of forgot that was a thing. Honestly, just overlords taking all the factories. I knew they did it, but I didn't know they did it to such an extent like that. And the Japanese continue their push in China. They have now taken Jinan, and they're making their way toward the Chinese Soviet Republic, which is, well, I mean, they're just now the Shan-Gan-Ning border region. They're pushing everywhere. Wow. I mean, they're pushing from Beijing and such, but it's crazy how much success the Japanese have had so far in their war with China and all of its warlords. We are like 3 to 4 focuses away from getting the economic independence focus done, and I would be so happy when that gets completed because we need that autonomy. We have a long way to go. A very long way to go. It feels like that anyway. And do we have more military factories? I think we do. Okay, we do, yes. So let's build that now. I mean, start making more weapons, please. And now we just wait. How's everything going in China? Japan's doing what they're doing. I don't know. There's only so many wars I can look at. Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's just looking around the world, letting time fly by. That's all we can do at this moment until we can break away from the Netherlands. And let me complete the focus here. Support 38. Get that done. I may need to soon research stuff relating to industry, or no, I'm fine there. Maybe Shanxi clique has capitulated. I may research steel production as well as aluminum production, and they'll grant us the ability to make steel mills and aluminum mills, I believe. Yes, will be enabled. Building that stuff will be enabled. And steel mills and aluminum mills are a thing in Road to 56 that does what they sound like. They get you more steel and aluminum. Because if you're a nation that doesn't start off with a lot of steel and aluminum, that could be bad. So let's keep building military factories. Or no, I don't know. Let's build actually. No, Brazil's invading Paraguay. Let me get this done here. Make some civilian factories actually. Let's do that. And we have 4 military factories now. I guess the Dutch are just giving back the ones they've been using. Connect the islands is complete. Now let's do the focus, expand our industries. And the integral state of Brazil is going to fight Colombia. That's crazy. And it says here, since its inception, export goods have been the staple of the East Indies economy. And while we may make all efforts to diversify this, there is no point in abandoning the lucrative industry we have inherited. And from this focus, we'll get a little bit of fuel and steel once it is complete in West Java. And where is West Java? West Java is right here in Batavia, yeah. That's where that is. And let's check on South America. Well, there are some wars over in China. The Xinjiang clique has been annexed. And Colombia is making some advances into Brazil, it looks like, through the Amazon, while Brazil is trying to take on Paraguay and Uruguay. Paraguay is doing very well here. I don't think the integral state of Brazil was really ready for this war, despite the fact they have tons of manpower. It's absurd. They have 7 to 16 divisions and they wanted this war. They have to be outnumbered easily. Let me check the war statistics here. The current wars. They have 5 to 15 for Uruguay, 1 to 4 for Paraguay. Colombia has 2 to 19, and Brazil has 7 to 16, but more. Well, they don't even have that much of a factory advantage, but they're just struggling. They got themselves into too many wars on too many fronts, but that's rough for them, isn't it? And it looks like the Spanish-American War is nearly over. The People's Republic of Spain, who will most likely join a Comintern once the conflict is over. They have nationalist Spain stuck in a corner, and it does not seem like they're going to be getting out. Select a technology to research. Let's start researching computing machine. That will take 205 days. Keep making weapons, please. I could get the upgraded stuff, but I know it's going to be harder to produce, so I may just not bother with that for now. Although I will have to get more upgraded equipment later, that is for sure. And just to close out that notification, just do that. How is China doing? The Japanese are outside Nanjing. They advance pretty fast, relatively speaking. They're just going hard against the Republic of China. Just the Japanese are just having a lot of success. Shanxi clique capitulated, and now communist China, well, what was communist China is holding the front line down at this moment in time, but who knows what's going to happen there. And now, how's this focus doing? Good. It's nearly complete. We'll get economic independence done shortly. Let's complete airborne industries. And it says here, Having a solid air industry is paramount to greater connectivity as a nation of islands. By nationalizing the airways, we can achieve this. And this, once it's done, will give a national spirit to us called the Royal Dutch Indies Airways, which grants the following. There's a lot of stuff here. Air research speed plus 7%, fighter production cost minus 5%, plus range 10%, plus agility plus 10%, max speed plus is 10%. And this will also give the same bonuses for fighters to carrier fighters, dive bombers, and carrier dive bombers. In the case of the dive bombers and the carrier dive bombers, they'll get a ground attack bonus and a range bonus instead of agility and range. Well, agility and max speed. So that's what they're going to get. Pretty useful national spirit for our Air Force, which only consists of what? We have no Air Force, what am I saying? Support 38 is done. Good. Now let's complete the focus. Let's go to support companies, actually. Let's get basic mechanized, motorized, research. That will take 160 days, I think. Is that right? Yes, it is. We'll have that completed soon enough. Airborne Industries is halfway through. It is now 28th of June, 1938. Interwar Artillery is complete. Now let's do Fall of Nanjing. The Thunder Dragon Empire joined the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. Researched its howitzer tech. And Japan, I think Japan has had their faction. Who joined here? This is Bhutan. They joined the Japanese faction, despite the fact they don't even have any single land connections with any of the Chinese warlords, unless they go through Tibet somehow. Paraguay has been annexed by Brazil. Now it's just Uruguay and Colombia. Is that right? Yes. Uruguay is doing pretty well. They've taken Sao Paulo. And Brazil is going to have some freed up soldiers, more than likely, from Paraguay. Well, the front there is now not really a thing. And Colombia is advancing quite well through the Amazon. Brazil is really facing some problems, aren't they? In the south and in the north. They're fighting on those two fronts. I think they bit off more than they can chew, honestly. Meanwhile, Ethiopia is still holding out somehow. They're holding down their capital. And I'm waiting here. Come on, Airborne Industries is done. Good, now let's do economic independence. And besides the whole autonomy thing, it says here, self-sufficiency is the only genuine autonomy. Our sovereignty is only whole when our resources are owned by our people alone, and we are no longer dependent on any other country for our existence and survival. And when this focus is done, besides the whole adding autonomy thing, it will also get rid of the bad national spirit colonial economy, which gives us less factory output, less dockyard output, and we got to use more consumer good factories. So we're effectively getting rid of a debuff while also trying to get ourselves more independent from the Netherlands at the same time. And that autonomy level cannot go up faster, can't it? And it looks like fascism is really popular right now in the Dutch East Indies. It's really going up lightning quick. I'd say so anyway. Like it's going up per what every day. Brazil dissolves its faction. How's Brazil doing? They are trying to push back Uruguay. Okay then. They're right outside Rio de Janeiro. Uruguay. And let me check here. So how popular is fascism getting per day? 0+2. Is anything else getting popular at all? No. It's just fascism. Yeah, that's bad for the government, the current ruling government of the Dutch East Indies. And I'm very curious if Uruguay will defeat Brazil. The fourth international, something there. I think Uruguay is really close to Rio de Janeiro. That'll be a pretty big blow to the Brazilians if they take their capital. And our focus tree, let's get this thing here. Not Hungary, join the Axis, Anschluss of Austria, Anschluss. Anyway, let's get this industrial concern, the Nederlandische Indie Stootseperogen whatever. It's something that can help us with infrastructure and railways, I'm pretty sure. And we have a new infantry division here. Send them off somewhere. They'll go defend a port somewhere in the country. Get that done. Come on, guys. And economic independence is going to be done shortly. Great. And I'm thinking, well, can we possibly have a civil war in the future? I don't know. Fascism is now getting more popular daily. That's a little worrying for the non-aligned government, as I probably said earlier. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a civil war. I will not be surprised at all. We'll have to wait and see, though. Just has to be done. Economic independence is going to be completed soon. Good. Let's do invite. No, not do that. We'll do this stuff here. Just do all of this, maybe, or no. Just do the stuff that will... I mean, let's go down the path of... Do this over here for... Do naval autonomy, do all that, then get the joint war games for the autonomy. Because that seems faster than doing all the stuff where we form the KNIL. So let's start it here. Naval autonomy. This will take 28 days. While the Dutch Navy has a sizable contingent protecting and stationed on our shores, we have no say in its deployment. Requesting naval... France and Britain announce alliance. Requesting naval autonomy is the first step in our mastery of the seas. And we'll get some naval experience, and the Kingdom of the Netherlands will get some event. And there's a civil war in the USA. That's crazy. So does this mean the Philippines are going to go independent? I suppose so. Second American Civil War, the fall of Los Angeles, that was fast. So Constitutionalist versus the USA, and I imagine the USA is going to have Douglas MacArthur take power. On the bright side for us, this means the Philippines is independent, or they're not. I think the Constitutionalists will lose. I believe they will. They just control less territory, even though, with that said, New York is very populous and just a very populated area, New England in general, as well as this western coast. So maybe they could win. I don't know how many units they have. Let me check to get a general idea. American Civil War, the Second American Civil War. 16 to 83 divisions, 27 to 105. Kingdom of the Netherlands refuses naval... Well, they refuse to give us naval autonomy. In the focus trade in, let's complete Java shipyards. That will take a few days. It says here, Java shipyards. If we are to be an autonomous naval power, we need to act like it. Building proper naval dockyards where shipbuilding is the first step. And from this, we'll get plus 10 naval experience and 3 naval dockyards in West Java. Is that correct? Yeah, West Java. I mean, it is everything. All these focuses we have seem to give a lot of stuff to West Java, but to be fair, it's like our capital, and I believe it has the most resources in our country. I could be wrong. And in our focus tree, well, research tree, let's get construction 3 started. Good. And looking back over to the USA, I'm really curious who will win. The Constitutionalists are probably really spread out. They're losing a lot of ground in New England. Like New York City will most likely fall soon, as well as Boston, where the capital of the Constitutionalists is located. Let's now research field anti-vehicle kit, as well as high-power cartridges. But at the same time, they are advancing pretty hard from the west coast. There's also this strange front in the Midwest that is pretty isolated geographically compared to the other. Well, they're all separated from one another, the fronts are. And Japan is continuing their march through China. They're really dominating the Chinese coastline. They're going to take Fujian. They already technically control, but they're going to secure all of it pretty soon, I imagine. And they have to get all the way here to Chongqing, I guess that's what it'd be called. They are going to have to get all the way here to win the war. They're still fighting every single Chinese warlord, so I imagine that is easier said than done, though. Although, they're obviously making good progress, so who knows? We'll see what happens. And how popular is fascism now? 61%. There's a Stalinist victory in the Spanish Civil War, and the National Union of Nicaragua joined the Axis. Interesting. And Brazil is still losing pretty hard to their enemies, the Munich Diktat, and that's something that has occurred with, I think, Czechoslovakia, the United Mexican States, joins the Axis. Did they give up the land? Did they give up Sudetenland? No, they did not, evidently, because now they're at war. The Germans are now at war with Hungary and Germany, as well as the rest of the Axis led by Heinrich Himmler. They're advancing into Czechoslovakia, but Czechoslovakia is in the same faction as Poland, so maybe the Polish Peasant Union could do something. But it looks like they're not going to join the war, so Czechoslovakia, despite being in a faction, is going to have to fight alone against the 5 countries of the Axis, which is most likely not going to end well for them. I wonder if the Netherlands will get invaded by the German Reich. That could be good for us, because we're seeking independence, and there we have it. That is absurd. Uruguayan troops enter Rio de Janeiro, and the white sands are the famous. That is crazy. So Uruguay took over Brazil, and Brazil has essentially been banished to... They're just stuck in the Amazon now. They just have that place there. Meanwhile, Uruguay has taken the bulk of everything. I don't think Colombia got a single state, but that's a pretty big, or the Greater Uruguay exists in this timeline. That is just absurd, but that's what happened. And in our focus tree, let's do fortified ports, add coastal forts and naval bases, and it says here, it says our naval bases are the first line of defense, so protecting them should be our priority. Yes. And that did not last long, didn't it? The Czechoslovak Republic has capitulated, and what emerged from the peace conference, the German Reich claimed some land in Lithuania. The Czechoslovak state is a thing, and so is the Ruthenian state. And do these guys have a national... I mean, I imagine the Czechoslovak state has their own focus tree. No, I mean, I imagine they have the... what is it? The Czechoslovak focus tree, possibly. I think they do. Yes, they do. I'm pretty sure. Yes. And does Carpathian Ruthenia here, the Ruthenian state, have one? They do, actually. Unique focus tree. Interesting. So Carpathian... Ukraine effectively does have a unique focus tree. Road to 56 always surprises me in some way. And we're in a gun surplus at this point in time. We have enough... We have a lot of weapons in our reserves. Well, we are not struggling with equipment right now. And let's go ahead and start making the more advanced small arms. Get away from the most basic of equipment, so our units can fight better if they have to. And it looks like Japan launched a naval invasion of Fujian, or they got cut off. Whatever, they just have some units holding out at Shantou and Guangdong. They're trying to push there, but they could be encircled if things turn out bad for them. How to say this? Japan could possibly overextend their lines, and China could take advantage of that, but time will tell if that happens or not. Free dockyards. Let's build... I don't know, what can we build? Can we request some license? Can we get a license from the Dutch, please? We want some submarines. Request license production. Thank you. Submarines. We need, like, basic submarines for some kind of navy. Just the cheapest ones you have. This works. The K3 class, they won't accept. Why did I bother in the first place? My goodness. Okay, let's try again. Let's try again. Netherlands, please. We're a good puppet. Give us something. They will not accept. What will you let us have? What will you let us have? Old destroyers? I mean, I can't complain too much. What's the cheapest ones you have? Okay, these. And these are going to be some really bad destroyers compared to to most powerful navies in the world, but hey, okay, I didn't do this right. Okay, I want a refund. I want a refund. Cancel license production. I forgot that was just going to be a hole and nothing else. Forget that then. Give me this class ship. Or the cheap one here. Defend class. Thank you. Can I make those? I should be able to. Fortified ports is done. Now in the focus tree, here's a new division. Now in the focus tree, let's complete naval warfare. It says here, it says, oh, research stuff. Slots available. Get small arms 39. And let me read that here. Naval warfare. Without being the placement on the ground, all amount of naval supremacy is useless. Our strategy should reflect this. And this is going to give us a research bonus for transport ships, I think. Transport models, essentially, like naval transport tech for naval invasions. And let me get rid of this advisor when I have the chance, because I'm a little concerned now there could be a civil war in the Dutch East Indies. I can't really do nothing about it, though. Oh well, if there is one, we had to deal with it. Poland refuses German ultimatum, there will be war then. And Poland, why'd you even bother not helping Czechoslovakia? That's not going to end well. Liberia join the Allies. Does Liberia have a... I wonder. Just curious. Does Liberia have a unique... I don't think they do. Oh well. Okay, back to Poland. They are going to they have a lot of problems. They're being attacked from Prussia. They're fighting over here on the Western Front. And they're also getting hit from the south from what was Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Slovak state, as well as the Carpathian state. Now, let me research this. Get concentrated industry 3. It is 1939 after all. Getting that tech would be useful. And I need to fix that license production deal with the Dutch. I don't want early destroyer hulls anymore. I have a civilian factory being used for that stuff. Let me get rid of this. Active licenses. Yes, get rid of that. Good. I don't want this anymore. I got my refund. I think. Yes, I did. Good. And now, let's get to work. How's those destroyers doing? Construction 3 is done. Great, now let's start. Let's now research excavation 3 for more efficiency, resource efficiency gain or something like that. No, yeah, resource gain efficiency. That's what it was. Naval warfare will be done shortly. And how is autonomy going? We're at 483 autonomy points. Good. So we're making our way up the chain there. Well, we're getting closer and closer to becoming a colony instead of being a puppet. And we've come a long way from being an integrated puppet, I would say. Which was, we were so close to being annexed in the grand scheme of things. And Poland is just getting dominated by the Axis here. That is really unfortunate. And they're also 1939 Royal Tour of Canada by the British king or whatever. And to be fair to Poland, they do have Yugoslavia. It's not really Yugoslavia, though. It's more like Serbia controlling a decentralized Yugoslavia, which, I don't know if that's really going to help them or not, but Poland is going to fall. And I imagine they're the major leader of their faction, so Yugoslavia being able to hold out here, while Serbia and their puppets holding out here is not going to matter so much, because if Poland is the faction leader of the Intermarium, they're going to fall with them. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So all of these countries in the Balkans are just going to become subjects of fascist nations, or they might just be annexed entirely. And naval warfare is done. Ireland joined the Allies. They're doing that. In our focus tree, let us research. That's not right. Let's do complete coastal entrenchment. That will take 70 days. I got to get to joint war games. And coastal entrenchment says proper engineering is the final step in ensuring our coastal defenses. Our shores will be impregnable to enemy forces. Fall of Warsaw, Lithuania got annexed, so did Poland. And this will give us a national spirit. And that war is over there. A lot of places got puppeted. And coastal entrenchment is a national spirit we'll get once that is done. And did Norway join the Allies? I believe they did. Is that right? Yes, the Kingdom of Norway is now part of the Allies. And as expected, like I kind of predicted, all of these countries... What happened with Serbia? They survived the war. Somehow. They have the only members of the Polish, what was the Mitzmorje, or the Intermarium, are Serbia and a few of their subjects. I think they lost a few of them, in fact. Like in Islamic State of Bosnia, they're part of the Axis now, they're a puppet of Germany. Independent State of Croatia, puppet of Germany. Soviet League, puppet of Germany. Do they have a unique leader? Interesting. And, it could be a generic leader, I could be wrong there. And Duchy of St. Sava, I think that's Fascist. Herzegovina, they joined. They're now part of the Axis as a German puppet. And so is the independent state of Macedonia. I don't know how Serbia somehow got out of that peace deal without being turned into a puppet state, but they did. I don't know what they did. They told the Germans there, but it worked, whatever it was. And how popular is fascism right now in the Dutch East Indies? 67% out of 100, 67% here is. That is how popular fascism is. I am not going to be surprised by a civil war if it happens or not. It could not. That would be nice if we could just keep all of our divisions without having a civil war. United Kingdom disavows appeasement. They could probably attack the Germans soon. It is 1939, so nothing would be surprising there. We're getting to the point where the historical start date of World War II was. Although, with that said, at the same time, we're getting closer to that date, and the German Reich has already basically devoured Poland, Lithuania, Czechoslovakia, as well as Austria. But the Anschluss and the Czechoslovakian invasion is kind of expected at this point in time in a Hoi 4 playthrough, if you're not playing an alternate history mod. Republic of China, how are they faring? They are still holding out. I don't know how much more they can, though. Japan's still applying a lot of pressure. Japan is getting right outside of Hong Kong at this point. That could have the British worried, perhaps. Modify Officer Corps, don't worry about that, just close that out. Insufficient resources, whatever. Coastal entrenchment is done. Let us start doing British ship designs. It says here in the focus, our Dutch counterparts have recently acquired ship designs from the British. Requesting these for our work is only prudent, and this will give us some research bonuses on destroyer models, submarine models, heavy cruiser models, and light cruiser models. So that's going to help us out with our Navy. And have we even deployed a single destroyer yet? I forgot about it. Whatever, make the Van Galen class ships and put more convoy, put a few dockyards on that, at least 2. So we'll have our first ship out in a year. That is that is not very good, but whatever. Let me trade some steel with the French. Get that done. Thank you. Old equipment in production. Are we in a deficit again? No. So let's make some more modern gear once more. We need 7,500 small arms from, well, 7,500 small arms from 1939. Well, 1939 year tech. We're pretty up to date in terms of equipment, and the Free Australian State has joined the Axis. Interesting. So they are part of the Axis, and they are helping. They've sent some volunteers to help the Douglas MacArthur here, and that is not good for the Constitutionalists, isn't it? Constitutionalists aren't looking too great. They lost the Midwest as well as New England, and now they're just stuck on this front where they lost Los Angeles. California is going to fall probably pretty soon, I would think, considering how this front is going for the Constitutionalists led by FDR. Concentrated Industry 3 is done. Now let's start researching advanced machine tools. Here we have more divisions. Good, send them off somewhere. There we go. How's everything going? Prepare for Civil War. And what does this even mean? Oh, wait, whoops. Do we ignite the Civil War? We could. I should have... Oh my goodness, I made a mistake. I should have held a national referendum. I mean, I have enough support for it. I need 100 political power. Let me just stop doing focuses soon enough. The German Reich declared war on the French Republic. There we go. Allies versus Axis, effectively. Standard World War II stuff. And Allies, French Republic, Italy's fighting them. They join the Axis. So we have a pretty powerful Axis who controls a large portion of part of the Balkans and Central Europe, led by Heinrich Himmler here, fighting the Allies. Excavation 3 is done. I need more political power. I really do, to get that national referendum done so I could try to prevent a civil war from taking place. I am sort of worried about that. And I should have just gone ahead and held the national referendum. It needs to happen at this point. Would it make a difference? I mean, I guess we'd still be a puppet of the Dutch if we did that, though. So I don't know. But let me get this. British ship designs here is going to be done soon. Good. What do we build? More civilian factories, probably. Build them in Batavia, build them there due to the infrastructure, making it one of the best places to build. Just build stuff in Java. British ship designs is nearly done. Good. We'll get KNIL Marines complete in joint war games. How much autonomy are we at? 566. Come on, get this done, though. KNIL Marines. Get that started. And fighting a war means fighting on all fronts. And with our Pacific location, it means fighting on the beaches, most of all. That will take 70 days, unsurprisingly, and will give us a lot of research bonuses. And Venezuela's having a civil war. Oh boy. And that is Fascist March on West Java. And we will let's go with their choice. We're going to have a civil war, I figured. And now a war has been started. Who do we have on our side as we're led by Sukarno here, who is the leader of the fascist. Well, I guess nationalist would be a more accurate term, but we don't have any commanders, so let's get a few of them. Just get all new people. Promote this guy. We have a marshal now. And how do we deploy these troops? We have Batavia, but the capital is up here, so move some units here. Do we worry about Dutch troops in Java? I'd say yes, so let's actually move this guy here. Move this guy over here. We control this whole area. And Sulawesi, so focus here with this. And we have 5 divisions total. So how much equipment do we have? I imagine we have a fair amount, so let me go ahead and deploy. Let me make a bunch of colonial garrisons and queue them up so they'll be deployed instantly soon enough. And we just need units in the field to outnumber the other side as rapidly as possible. Have this unit advance as quickly as they can toward the new capital of the Dutch East Indies. We just got to defeat the Dutch. And here we have a unit. Where are they going to go? I don't know. So keep this unit here. Keep them there. Put these guys here. And move this unit over here. And move this unit to Sumatra. And there we go. We have a plan. And with that said, and we lost the national government ideas are just disappearing, aren't they? And with that said, I'm going to end what is going to be part 1 of, I guess, a a Dutch East Indies Sukarno Path playthrough in the, well, I guess that'd be the best way to describe it, a Dutch East Indies Sukarno Path playthrough or Indonesian Nationalist Path playthrough in the Hearts of Iron 4 mod, Road to 56 here. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can check out the Road to 56 in the video description. The link to it is there.